Welcome to Under the Hoodies. I am Bill Kegel. I will be joined shortly by my co-host, Tony DeNicola. You probably know him as Q's Waterboy. He's big on Twitter, especially in Central New York, where he is doing the Lord's work and getting people signed up for the vaccines in and around Syracuse and other parts of the state. Honestly, he's, again, like I said, he's doing the Lord's work, getting everybody vaccinated. He is single-handedly trying to end this pandemic, at least for the state of New York, more than our governor's done. But that's all the political talk we have today. Let's pot him in. Here we go. There he is. What's happening?
Woo! Sorry, I am excited. I just left the gym. I got some pre-workout in my system. Let's go, buddy.
This is the energy I was hoping for. So I was actually just explaining to the good folks listening that you are the Johnny Appleseed of COVID vaccines for the Central New York and Western New York for some of us. So just real quick, if you want to go over and explain that to everybody listening.
Yeah, I feel like Robin Hood. I am stealing from the young and tech savvy, and I'm giving to the elderly and immune compromised with COVID vaccines. But yeah, man, New York State, 65 and over, you can get a vaccine if you have a comorbidity, which is a very loose term, by the way, because one of the comorbidities that's included to make you vaccine eligible is obesity, which goes by BMI. If you're not familiar with BMI, it's body mass index.
Which was developed in like the 50s.
Yeah, maybe even earlier than that. It takes your height and your weight. So I am 35. I am 5'9", 217 pounds. I am a weightlifter. I am in the best shape of my life, and New York State considers me obese. So, but basically, I'm trying to it just sucks how people are behind the eight ball who are the most at risk, elderly and immune compromised, the people who go to the hospital, the people who die. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to sign up everybody. 120 plus people as of tonight. Let's get them in. Let's get them their shots. Let's get me back in the dome. Let's go.
Yeah, this is also good news for the good people of Western New York, too, that Tony's doing this, because that means hopefully Bills fans, more than 6,700 of them, can actually go to a Bills playoff game at their own stadium. So that'd be cool. Anyway, let's get into it, because there is a player in the NFL that this possibility could be coming to the Bills stadium for the next handful of years, and that is Deshaun Watson, depending on if he goes to the Jets or the Dolphins.
Oh, I thought you meant going to Buffalo for a second. I was like,
no, Deshaun Watson's not going to Buffalo.
Yeah.
One of the few places they're okay at quarterback. So, but yeah, so Deshaun Watson could end up playing in Buffalo, either as a member of the Jets, the Dolphins, and there's also rumors he could go to the Panthers or the Broncos. I put a little poll on Twitter and asked the people to choose between the Texans, Jets, Dolphins, or Panthers. And as of right now, the Panthers are at 35%, with the Texans at 30%, Dolphins at 20%, and Jets at 15%. I think I meant Texans at 30%, excuse me. And that's with 61 votes so far. So go to my Twitter at Under the Hoodies and vote. I'd like to get everybody's opinion. That'll be up for the next week or so. Anyway. So I actually took it upon myself to look up what Deshaun Watson would actually be giving up if he were to sit out the entire season. So it's not as bad as you think. So if he sat out all of minicamp, that's $95,877. I'm sure he has more money than that in his couch cushions. Training camp.
And I don't think he really needs a minicamp. I think he'll be okay.
He's okay. He's decent at football. So for training camp, he'll sacrifice $1.4 million. Preseason, $1.86 million. That's a total of $3.35 million before the season even starts in fines. So after it starts, he will forfeit 1/17 of his base salary per game. That's $620,000 a game. That totals $10.54 million plus the $3.35 million. That gives a grand total, if he sits out the entire season, $13.89 million. So this leads me to believe that Deshaun Watson very well could sit out the season, because he'll make that up in spades if he actually plays the waiting game here, and actually goes to a team where he's not wasting his prime. And actually, looking at that number, $13.89 million for a star NFL quarterback in his mid-20s, I definitely feel like that's something that he's probably willing to sacrifice, and he knows this information. All this stuff is by Spot Track, by the way. That's where I got all this information. So, but I think like that for him is kind of a small price to pay in order not to waste another year of his career, possibly getting injured. Who knows the severity of whatever injury, and also not wasting his time for an organization that clearly doesn't value his opinion. But what say you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the most high profile player that's like sat out like a year like this, just eating that contract. It just doesn't make sense for either side. Like
Le'Veon Bell is the last one I can think of.
Yes. Okay. That's good. Yeah. Good point. I just don't see how it pays off for either side. Like if he's going to sit out, Houston knows like, all right, we have to get something for him. Like
right.
They're not a win now team. Just build for the future, trade him, like get what you can for him. And teams are going to be willing to give a truckload for him. It's not like Watson stays on Houston and they do anything. Watson stays on Houston. They're a top 5 team. Well, top 5, getting a top 5 pick.
Right.
If they trade him, they're getting the number 1 pick. Like, it's just not worth it. Just ship them off, rebuild the team, get some pieces in return. And I know it's not in Houston's benefit to let Watson go. And, they're not looking out for what's in his best interest that they're going to let him go. But it just works for both sides. Like, just fresh start, cut ties, just rebuild, restart.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I actually think if you're looking at it, the Jets can offer the number 2 pick, but I want to say the Dolphins could probably offer more. And for whatever reason, Deshaun Watson is interested in going to the New York Jets. I don't understand. That's like moving out of a dumpster into a hollowed out refrigerator. I don't understand. Like, they're both crappy. I don't understand why you would want to go there, but those are one of the 3 teams he's interested in going to.
We hear these rumors that he's interested
according
in going
to rumors.
The Jets. Yeah, who's coming out with these rumors, though? Like, I wonder, is it an agent or maybe an NFL executive trying to drive the price up just so it costs the other teams?
My best guess is his agent.
Yeah, but why the Jets? Like you said, you go from one dumpster fire to another. Like
Robert Saleh, because I think he was really interested in Robert Saleh coaching the Texans. For whatever reason, he has a good relationship with him or has a perceived good relationship with him. I don't know where that comes from because I don't know when their paths would have ever crossed. But that seems to be the sticking point because Robert Saleh was one of the guys that he wanted to coach the Texans. But
that's cool. You got a coach, but you have no weapons when you go to
right. You have no weapons. Who their best receiver is who?
Dude, name me a Jet besides Sam Darnold, who's probably going out the door. Name me a Jet.
I mean, Jamison Crowder, but he's like a really high-end number 3 if he's in the right offense. Like, if he was in the Patriots of, 2012, like, he's phenomenal for them. But, like, I don't see – he's not a number 1, that's for sure. He's a good player. But the only other player I can think of note is Quinnen Williams because he was a top 5 pick a couple years ago. And Marcus May, who – overachieved on the Jets last year, but that's really about it. They don't really have anybody of note. And I mean, they have Mekhi Becton, who they drafted last year, who, before his injury looked like he was going to be a really good left tackle. But I don't know. To me, the Dolphins make the most sense on both sides. Like, they can get their pick back for Laremy Tunsil. The Texans, can get their pick back for Laremy Tunsil. They can also get whatever their pick was, the Dolphins, I want to say it's 18. They can also probably get Byron Jones. They can get Devontae Parker. I mean, they could get some pieces along with picks for Watson. And I think, like, Miami, even though they would have to give up some assets to get Watson, I think that absolutely puts them in the very top of the second tier of the AFC underneath, Kansas City and Buffalo, who I think are now the class of the AFC, Kansas City specifically. But I think it puts them in that tier, like right up with Cleveland and, Baltimore and stuff like that. It just automatically jolts them.
I think it puts Miami right there with Buffalo. I think they're just throwing haymakers at each other for the AFC East and trying to compete with KC. If Miami gets Deshaun Watson, like that's massive. Like, that is a franchise quarterback, which they haven't had basically since Dan Marino left. Like, okay, yeah, they had Jay Feely, they had Ryan Tannehill. That can't even hold a candle to Deshaun Watson.
Right. Like, the best quarterback they've had between Dan Marino and, wherever they are now, like, say, hypothetically, we're to get Watson. So in this time between Dan Marino and now, the best quarterback they've had is probably Chad Pennington. And they only had him for a couple of years.
But
I mean, as far as success goes
versus Deshaun Watson twice a year for the next 10, 15 years, like, yes, please. Yes, please, and thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as a guy that lives here, I think that would be a lot of fun. I also think it's kind of interesting that the Panthers are creeping in there because they seem to be a really forward-thinking organization. The guy that bought them, David Tepper, is like he's a Wall Street guy. He's a what do you want to call it? A hedge fund guy. Like he's super progressive. He went in there, he cleaned house, he bought the team for a lot of money. Money's not an object to him. So, I mean, they hired a really young progressive coach, a team builder. They still have a great play caller and Joe Brady there. I do wonder the Panthers, and they actually kind of are unique because they were in a lot of games last year, despite their lack of talent. Like, I think they lost, 7 games by less than a touchdown last year, something like that.
They went toe-to-toe with Kansas City.
Yeah, they did.
I remember betting on them as the underdog. And they made me some money. That they always play people tough.
Yeah, they really do. And Carolina is not one of these like the Jags, not one of these slap nut organizations that, they get lucky every once in a while. But no, Carolina is a really well run franchise, and they have been for a while, even with the management, the ownership stuff that happened with Jerry Richardson. And then they've just always been kind of like a B+ organization. And I think a Deshaun Watson adding to that, especially with, like I said, a progressive owner and a progressive coach, and I really think that puts them as, one of the best teams in the NFC. And this isn't just Deshaun Watson based. I think it's Dolphins and the Panthers are both set up really well for long-term success. And I think adding a 25-year-old elite caliber quarterback absolutely vaults them into, stratospheres that they otherwise wouldn't be in.
Well, and you just keyed in on it, too. A 25-year-old in his prime quarterback. Look at the rest of the division. Atlanta, Matt Ryan probably out. New Orleans, maybe going to Jameis Winston. Tampa Bay, yeah, they have Brady, but, Brady's 42, 43. So
he'll be 44 next year when the season starts.
Yeah. So if you look at it, Carolina will be set up the best out of all those teams for the next, 10 years, 10, 12 years.
And they have some really nice players on defense. Like, I think Brian Burns is like quietly one of the best young defensive guys in the league. And I think if there was a trade for Deshaun Watson, my best guess is that Christian McCaffrey would have to be included in that. But
do it. We've seen firsthand running backs, especially once you get to that second contract. No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at the last 10 years of Super Bowl winners and Super Bowl losers, and find me a team, I think it was maybe just the Rams with Todd Gurley, that had a top 10 rushing running back on their squad. Like, if you want to win a Super Bowl, which should be every team's end goal, you just don't need a high, an elite running back. It's just the sad truth.
No, you really don't. I think, what was it you that pointed out earlier that you might have just said this, that Todd Gurley was the only quarterback or the only running back of note. And the thing about Todd Gurley that year is, remember, he had that weird knee thing where he was like good through week 13 and then he just sort of out of nowhere deteriorated.
Disappeared in the playoffs. It's not like he got into the Super Bowl.
Right. They were starting what's his name from that played in the Super Bowl with Denver, the running back there, the short, kind of squatty, chubby dude, whose name's escaping me right now.
God, the bowling ball guy.
Yeah, he was awesome. But the other good defensive player I was thinking about for Carolina was Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin was excellent as a rookie. Had a couple pick sixes in one game, I would say he had 2 defensive touchdowns against Atlanta, maybe. But yeah, I think Carolina is kind of uniquely set up for long-term success along with the Dolphins. Again, the Jets are very perplexing. I don't understand what they're doing. And we'll throw the Broncos in there too. The Broncos, if they get Deshaun Watson, have an absurd receiving core, like quietly one of the best young receiving cores. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick came on last year. Noah Fant's a really good tight end. And like running backs. They get running backs, post Shanahan that are good. Like, Philip Lindsay got drafted the same year as Saquon Barkley, has actually been more productive than Saquon Barkley since coming into the league. Melvin Gordon is a B+ running back. Like, they are, and Garrett Bowles out of nowhere on the line just came out of, he was terrible. And then all of a sudden got really good last year. So like, Denver's another team that's set up for a good success on offense. They're just missing a quarterback. Drew Lock wasn't the answer, clearly. So,
what do you think of Chicago?
See,
they need a quarterback.
They desperately need a quarterback. But my thing with Chicago is Deshaun Watson, he doesn't look like a Chicago Bear to me. And it has nothing to do with like,
no quarterback looks like a Chicago Bear.
No, that's a good point. But what I'm saying is like, he's like to me, and I know Denver is kind of a, kind of like this too. And the Jets to a lesser extent, but it's New York. So kind of overlooked that. But like, to me, he's like a warm weather Southern quarterback. Like, he doesn't he's not a.
Yeah, but
I don't
to
know.
be fair, you threw Denver on the list. That's not
No, that's what I said. That's what I was getting at. It's like I threw Denver on the list. Denver's hit or miss. Denver can be 70 one day and they can get a snowstorm the next. Denver's very odd.
Yeah, you just got to go down the hill from Mile High.
Right, exactly. So, but like, I don't even know if he's really. To me, he seems like a Southern quarterback, and my best guess is that's why he had the quote unquote rumored 3 teams on the list, which was Carolina, the Jets, and Miami. I think New York City and Los Angeles sort of transcend where this quarterback looks best playing, but Chicago. First of all, Chicago doesn't deserve him because they could have drafted him in 2018, but they took a quarterback that couldn't even beat out a guy who's working at freaking FedEx right now, and I don't understand that. He only got the job, Mitch Trubisky, as a senior because the quarterback before him was done with college. And that's the only reason he got to play. So, and then he gets picked over. So the Patrick Mahomes thing makes sense because Patrick Mahomes is an absolute project. Nobody saw that coming, right? Nobody realized they had a unicorn on their hands until Andy Reid traded up and got him. But Deshaun Watson was super productive in college, and it just didn't make any sense why teams were passing on him. It just made no sense to me. Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback in Georgia in high school. He was the best quarterback in college. He was super productive. His numbers went up in clutch situations. His yards per attempt when playing in the fourth quarter or playing in quote unquote clutch situations went from 7.7 to 9.5 or something like that. He's just so much better when it actually makes a difference. And I think how does Chicago miss on a guy like that? I don't know how they don't blow their shoulder out swinging and missing on him.
As a Syracuse fan, there's one guy you don't have to preach about and how good he was in college to me. It's Deshaun Watson. I got to see it firsthand and personal in the dome, sweating my ass off when it's 90 degrees, and he's throwing for 300 yards, running for another 100, and just hurdling guys left and right. But it's so funny. I was Deshaun Watson, can't miss prospect. Coming out of Clemson, he's going to be great in the NFL. But then when the Bears traded up for Mitch Trubisky, and mind you, I am a Syracuse fan. I'm very familiar with ACC and their quarterbacks, and they draft Mitch Trubisky. I'm just what? Who? I was he was the 4th or 5th best ACC quarterback. My God, man. It was mind-boggling to me. It still is.
And the thing that kills me, too, is that Chicago traded they were the 3rd pick. They traded the 2nd pick with the Niners and threw in a 3rd round pick or something like that. All to move
up one second, honestly, if I remember right. Because I remember, wow, they overpaid for him for sure.
Right, they moved up 1 pick. I don't know who they were in the race for, but it didn't make a lot of sense when they did it because the Niners were always taking Solomon Thomas. So I don't know. That didn't make any sense. So closing thoughts on Deshaun Watson for me. I think if I were to put money on where he's going to go, I would either say he would stay in Houston or he'd go to Miami. Those are just seem like the 2 most logical options. And I actually think if I were to pick between those 2, I would say he goes to Miami.
Yeah, I got to go Miami. I will be so heartbroken if he stays in Houston because it's just a waste of his freaking talent. Because I don't think they're going to be able to compete for at least 2, 3, even 4 years. Just the way they don't have any draft picks. They just don't have talent. And I don't know. We don't even know what their ownership or GM is going to do or who the coach. I don't know. It's a freaking mess. Get him out of there. I want to see good elite players play in good situations and make the most out of their talents.
Yeah, and that's not happening with him in Houston. It's Andrew Luck 2.0. I mean, it's depressing. All right, so the next quarterback we're going to talk about is Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson, I want to say, said on the Dan Patrick Show that he's not sure where he's going to end up. Basically, it was taken a little out of context to read articles about it, and he was trying to be normal, neutral, diplomatic Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson claims he doesn't know where he's going to play next year, or if Seattle wants him, or something like that. So. I should have had the exact quote here, and I don't. I apologize. But anyway,
to be fair, Aaron Rodgers said something very similar to this, and I highly doubt he's going anywhere too.
Right, but it is sort of fun to speculate, and that's what we're doing today. We are writing the quarterback carousel. So Russell Wilson, where does he go? Who gives up what for him? And is Seattle crazy to trade him?
I think Seattle's absolutely crazy to trade him.
He's 32.
Still, it's not like he has an injury history or anything, or he's beat up, or he takes hits. I mean, the guy's a magician in the backfield. I'm trying to think of even watching him get hit. I can't think of an exact time.
He gets tackled the most for a quarterback, but he doesn't get walloped. He goes down. Yeah. He reminds me of a quarterback version of Marvin Harrison. You remember Marvin Harrison would go over the middle, but he would never get touched really. He would get touched down, but he always just fell before he got tackled. That's a lot of what Wilson does. But yeah, so a couple years ago, there's a lot of good sources on this that Russell Wilson was actively trying to go to the New York Giants, and
you'd love that.
Yeah, and basically Seattle paid him way more than what they wanted to in order for him not to leave. Which I guess is the point of a contract, right? So, but my thing is like, I don't know where he would go. See, to me, he fits Chicago. And maybe I'm crazy for thinking this because he's a Southern kid too. But like to me, he fits Chicago. Well, he's not a Southern kid; he's from Virginia. But like,
he's in the Pacific Northwest for so long now,
right?
In that cold rain,
right? And he played in Wisconsin his senior year in college too. I mean, he played for NC State. But to me, he does seem like a Chicago Bear, and I think that would be the most logical sense. It would make the most logical sense for Chicago to give up a ton of stuff for him in order, A, to keep Allen Robinson there and keep him happy, and B, like, they just need a quarterback. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about like, oh, when's the last time Miami's had a good quarterback? Dan Marino, Chad Pennington. Dude, when's the last time Chicago's had anybody that could throw the ball accurately to somebody, more than 55% of the time? Like the one good year with Rex Grossman where he wasn't even that good.
I was going to say Rex Grossman for a half, if that.
Right, like he was okay for the first chunk of the 2006 season, but like, who else have they had? Like Mike Glennon, they gave him $15 million to do what? Like, I just Chicago is the most cursed team when it comes to quarterbacks, and the fact they could have had Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes in the same draft, and they take Mitch Trubisky is really sad.
So this is interesting. I just looked up Russell Wilson's contract, and he has a potential out in 2022 if they eat $26 million in dead cap. Only $26 million, but still, you don't have to pay him for the remaining 2 years.
It seems like Seattle doesn't want him there. That's where I get confused because it's like they run the ball so much. I mean, I think the Giants, and I'm not saying this because I'm wearing my Giants hoodie right now, but like it does make the most sense. They could get Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, and probably ask for like 3 firsts, right? Some absurd and obviously we're not GMs. We don't know shit about any of this stuff. But what I'm saying is like, I mean, they would probably want a high-end running back just based on how they run their offense. Like they drafted Rashad Penny in the end of the first round. Like they love Chris Carson. They run the ball with like J.D. McKissick and stuff. Like they love running the ball when they have an elite quarterback. It's not like Russell Wilson can't throw. Like he's very good and he's very accurate. He throws a beautiful deep ball. He throws those weird moon balls to DK Metcalf. Like he's a very good pocket quarterback. I mean, especially for a shorter guy. But Chicago seems like the most obvious landing spot. I don't know what they would have to give up to get him. I was only speculating of the Giants because I know way too much about the Giants and their cap situation. But Chicago seems like the most likely spot for him if he doesn't stay in Seattle. What do you think?
Man, I just can't see him leaving Seattle. It just makes no sense to me. When you have a franchise guy and he's only 32, like you keep him. Like, I don't know. It's like they think the grass is greener on the other side when it's really not. Russell Wilson hides so many warts on that team. Like I just think if they trade him, they're going off a cliff.
He's
like, nobody cares about Seattle unless it's because of Russell Wilson. Like they'll fall off the football map again.
You're 100% right. No, you're 100% right. But Russell Wilson, I've always kind of like thought in my head is like he's like an Instagram filter for somebody with a bunch of pimples. Like that's exactly what he is. Like, I mean, that honestly, and is a guy that had some complexion issues in high school. I can speak to that. I would have done anything for Instagram filters when I was trying to make my AIM profile. But yeah, so
good old AIM.
Good times. I miss AIM. So yeah, I mean, this is probably least likely to happen, but like, I would think if there was another team that were to go after him, I think it would be Chicago, but I think ultimately he stays in Seattle.
Which do you think is least likely to happen, for the Packers to trade Rodgers or for Seattle to trade Wilson?
I think the Packers trading Rodgers is the least likely to happen.
Even though they drafted his replacement, which still makes no sense to me.
They could...
I don't understand. See, this is why I give the Rams a lot of credit, because they understand, like, hey, here's our window. Let's shoot our shot, and we'll sacrifice whatever we need to try to win a Super Bowl, which should be every franchise's goal. Like, win the whole damn thing. Green Bay's just like, we went from one Hall of Famer to another, and now we're just going to try to replace them, and we won't put pieces around them. Like
Super Bowls to show for.
Go all in. Put all your chips on the table and try to win the damn thing.
They've had an elite quarterback since 1992 and have won 2 Super Bowls, dude.
Dude, they had Matt Hasselbeck as well and Mark Brunell. Like, somehow they just get on these quarterbacks and they don't make the most out of them. It's so freaking frustrating.
They've had an elite level quarterback for 28 years. I mean, granted, we'll say 25 because Aaron Rodgers was injured a couple times, so whatever. So we'll say 25 years they've had an elite level quarterback and they won 2 Super Bowls. That's crazy.
Yeah, and look
Tom
at
Brady's
Buffalo and Miami. They couldn't get replacements for Marino and Kelly. Like, but Green Bay's just like, oh yeah, let's churn out another one.
The Bills just got one, and they didn't know if they did until this season. For Jim Kelly. The Dolphins, they should have drafted Justin Herbert, but didn't. I mean, who knew that, though? I mean, I don't really blame them for that. Tua,
no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was never a big Tua guy, but I didn't know anything about Justin Herbert either. So I remember being upset. This is a funny aside. I remember being upset because I read about this time last year that Joe Judge was talking to Justin Herbert, and there was rumor the Giants were going to draft him. I'm like, we have Daniel Jones. We do not need a Justin Herbert, okay? Get him out of my face. I don't want Justin Herbert. We have Daniel Dimes Jones. If we drafted Justin Herbert, my daughter's name would be Justin, and she's a girl.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I remember reading back in
insanely.
It was Herbert's like either freshman going into sophomore year or sophomore year at Oregon, and there was a ton of talk about him being the number 1 overall pick, and then his numbers just weren't great, and he was just kind of average at Oregon. And it kind of fell off the map. And I don't know if that motivated him or the whole, I've talked about in the past how the whole Tyrod Taylor situation, the punctured lung, and Herbert just got thrown in the mix without any preparation.
Against the defending Super Bowl champions.
Any time to get nervous, just here you go, kid, it's your ball. Go for it. And he just went out there and slung it. He didn't have to overthink it at all. I really want to see them do that with more rookies. I think it's the new method to make it work.
There is a throw against the Jets he made running to his left that is still maybe the best throw I've ever seen. The guy was covering Keenan Allen for the Jets cornerback was covering Keenan Allen, was basically blanketing him. He threw it as hard as he could at Keenan Allen, and it just basically the defender was right there in position. He couldn't stop it. The ball got on Keenan Allen so fast. I mean, that's one of the best throws ever. And then there was the throw where he's getting rushed and he's sort of backpedaling and he flings it basically off his back foot and he lofts it in front of the receiver. And it was I want to say it was a long, I can't remember if it was a touchdown or not, but it was a really long completion. It was ridiculous. I'm like, dude, Justin Herbert's insane. Justin Herbert, I'll tell you one thing. Speaking of teams that don't deserve their quarterbacks, the Los Angeles, San Diego Chargers fans, they don't deserve him.
They have fans.
Those 2 guys that like the Chargers, they don't deserve him. Those 2 guys don't. They just don't, honestly, because Chicago hasn't been able. They're a great football city. They haven't been able to find a quarterback for how long? Ever? How long have they been around? 100 years? They haven't found one. Who's the best quarterback? Honestly, we can't even figure it out. Who's the best quarterback? Jim McMahon.
Yep. Dude, it's funny. Earlier you mentioned complexion, and just look at Justin Herbert and his zit face. He looks like he just went through puberty. His massive balls dropped, and he just got big dick energy slinging the ball all over the field.
That little boy haircut he got killed me, dude. I'm like, he's lucky he's good at football, man, because that little boy haircut made me laugh. He looks like a backup quarterback, best case. With his helmet on, he looks elite. But when he takes that helmet off, it's that's a boy. That's he looks like that baby filter people do on the Twitters over there. So anyway, man, I don't think Russell Wilson moves. That's basically my long and short of it. So that aside, your boy, Dak Prescott. So is he the new Kirk Cousins, old franchise tag Prescott over here?
Apparently, and it's going to bite us in the ass long term if we try to sign him. Now there's talk that the Cowboys might draft a quarterback at number 10. I'm just, oh my God, man! When you find a guy in the 4th round, and he hits and he's as elite as he's been, just sign him. I don't know what the hell Jerry is doing. You sign everybody but the most important piece, and now the price just keeps going up because Mahomes reset the whole quarterback market with his contract.
They signed DeMarcus Lawrence way too early.
Oh my God!
They signed Tyron Smith too early, and he's a left tackle, and he's really important. So that one's a little.
They love giving those massive deals to offensive linemen, and then pushing the money toward later in their career and backloading it, where it puts them in salary cap hell.
Yeah, it does. And then they paid Amari Cooper, and they paid Zeke Elliott, but you had an elite cornerback in Byron Jones, and you let him walk, and you have I don't know if I would go so far as to throw the term elite around for Dak Prescott, but he's a damn sight better than anything else anybody in the NFC East has right now. I mean, is he better than Jalen Hurts? Yes. Is he better than Daniel Jones? Yes. Is he better than whatever the hell Washington trots out there this year? Yes. I mean,
he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. If you look at
I think so. I think he's like the third best quarterback in the NFC, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.
I mean, he's really good. And granted, he's not as flashy as Mahomes, but man, I just think that guy, he does a good job. Like, you can't really ask for anything other than that. I think he can win a Super Bowl.
Wins, like, and he was a 4th-round pick. Like, you struck gold. What the hell, man?
Yeah. And so do you think he plays for Dallas next year, or do you think he goes somewhere else?
Yeah, I think they'll tag him.
That's another guy that looks like a Chicago quarterback to me. Big, thick guy.
God damn you.
I know.
See, this is what people need to understand, too, with these quarterbacks and the contracts. It's not about is the guy worth it. It's about what a team is going to pay him and when he signs his deal. The later you sign your deal, the better off you are. That's why Dallas is freaking insane to not get this done before the Mahomes deal. You knew Mahomes was going to sign a mega deal. And now I'm not saying that Dak will get as much as Mahomes, nor should he. But because Mahomes signed the deal that he did, price tag just went up. It's so frustrating, man.
And the thing that's funny about the Mahomes deal, by the way, it sounds like a lot. I mean, it is a lot, obviously, when I've made more as I'm saying the sentence than I will. Deal. It really is, because the only year where it's really crazy is 2027, where I think it's like $55 million. The rest of it,
Jesus.
Right. But like, that's it. Like, that's where the most of the money is. And what they could do at that point, if they're in any kind of salary cap issue, which by then that's going to be a bargain for somebody like Mahomes, because the cap's going to keep going up. Dude, we had a pandemic where no fans were at most of the stadiums, and the cap went up like, not a lot. I mean, $5 million, but it still went up. They print money, dude.
Did you hear how much that they're potentially asking ESPN for Monday Night Football?
No.
$3 billion.
They don't ask. They tell them what they're going to pay.
Exactly.
There's no negotiation.
And Disney is balking at it. And like, you think Amazon Prime isn't going to just swoop in and take that
Amazon
deal?
Amazon's been toying with the NFL for 2 years now. And I'll tell you what, Amazon, I'm telling you, the NFL looks great on Amazon Prime. They got 4K. If you have a 4K TV and don't have a 4K DirecTV receiver, I'm telling you can see the difference. It looks so much better. And I think they're crazy. I think DirecTV is crazy for letting the Sunday Ticket go potentially, and I think ESPN's crazy because Amazon is going to. Jeff Bezos has enough money to buy the NFL. So if you think that he can't afford a little Monday Night Football, and not to mention ESPN the NFL isn't upset with Amazon over the show Playmakers. Still a little pissy with ESPN about it. That's why they keep giving them crap games.
Nobody holds a grudge like the NFL.
Oh my God, man!
What was that, like 12 years ago at this point? No, I
was in high school. It was like 20 years ago. Playmakers was dope. I watched that show.
Playmakers was amazing.
It really was. I like that. Cuba Gooding's brother was the drug addict rookie running back. That's my favorite part about that is you can kind of tell where football was back then by that show, because the running back was the most important guy on the team. Like, he was like the guy that the owner was like going to bat for or whatever, not the quarterback. They had a really interesting storyline too with a gay wide receiver too. Like, it was he was like a sort of a slot guy, a Wes Welker guy, but he was gay, and they were like exploring that. And then there was like I remember the bald middle linebacker. What a great show, dude! I got to see if that's streaming somewhere. I might rewatch
it. It was ahead of its time. It
really was. The quarterback who was like a scumbag. He was like just a womanizing scumbag. What a great show! Like you're saying,
the cap's gonna go up. Like, Fox and CBS as of right now, I think they pay like 1.2 billion for the NFL package. That'll go up to like 2 billion. They're both willing to pay it. NBC's willing to pay it, because think of these networks, man. Like, besides the NFL or sports, when do you ever watch a network show? If you're in the 18 to 35 demo, which is the most important demo for money and advertisers, when do you ever watch a network? Sports.
That's it.
Sports is DVR proof. You have to watch it live. It's not something you record, not something you can watch on demand. You have to watch it live. You get those eyeballs. You get that advertising revenue. It's just, it has to be done. And Fox is willing to pay. CBS is willing to pay. NBC will pay for Sunday Night Football. Disney, ESPN's the only outlier. They're hemorrhaging money. They're trying to save wherever they can and cut costs. We've seen that with all the people they laid off at ESPN. Like, again, Amazon is just going to swoop right in. Like, hey, Monday Night Football. And who doesn't have Amazon? We all have Amazon. So we all have access to it. It's not like, we can't watch it.
And the
it's
people
not like
that
we're
don't.
all not conditioned to use streaming services like we are.
And the people that don't have Amazon will because of the NFL. I mean, that's the only reason I kept DirecTV for as long as I did. I just canceled DirecTV the other day, and I am okay with it. Like, I'm not missing it. I've been watching. I got YouTube TV, and I've been rewatching The Wire. I've been happier than a pig in crap. So I have no desire to get DirecTV again, even if it means I don't get the Sunday ticket this year. So be it. Dude. I'll just get I'll pay the $10 a month for the red zone. And then I'll watch the Giants that way. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, but I'm tired of paying $400, for the season to watch the Giants. Like, it's because I live in Buffalo. I can't watch my favorite team. So at least that often, and it's just not worth it. My wife and I were talking about it. It's not worth it. It's not like we can't afford it. It's nothing. It's not even that. It's just like, A, I don't want to give DirecTV any more money because they suck, and B, like, it's absurd amount of money for what, like 6 games? Just live with it. It's fine. But
and watching Red Zone is just football on cocaine, and it is amazing.
Dude, I will say
the 1 p.m. till about 7:30, just no commercials, pure football. Like, it is nirvana.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I will say, go back. I watched the Sunday night game of commercials, and like, I just start getting bored after a while.
I know. But like, the DirecTV Red Zone is so much different than the NFL Network one. Like, the one with Siciliano is so much better than the one with I don't even know that guy, Scott Hansen. Was this Scott Hansen?
Yes.
Wait, is Scott Hansen the Catch a Predator guy?
No, you're thinking of John Henson, I think.
No, right? John Henson was the guy from Talk Soup. Scott Hansen, whatever, Hansen. We'll just say
SU graduate. He's played on the line too. I think he played with Marvin Harrison, actually.
Scott Hansen did?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He sneaks in little SU tidbits all the time, which, diehards like me always pick up on Red Zone.
That's good. Yeah. As a middle New Yorker, I enjoy that.
Middle New Yorker. Siciliano.
Yeah. Oh, I did stop at Timmy Horse today. But yeah, so we're gonna go. Oh, well, it makes one of us. All right, so we agree that Dak's probably gonna stay in Dallas. So we're gonna do a kind of a lightning round. Sam Darnold, where do you think he ends up?
I'll go Chicago.
See, I'm going Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Tua, does he get traded for Deshaun Watson?
I think he does. I think Tua is playing as a Texan next year.
Me too. And Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G. Oh man, I always forget about San Fran, how they're looking for a quarterback too.
So I think they move up in the draft. Honestly, I think they trade Jimmy G back to the Patriots in some form, and then they end up with I think they end up with one of the not the Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, or Justin Field types, but I think they end up with like a oh God, who was it? Who was I thinking of? What's the other quarterback there? Oh, Trey Lance. I think they end up with like a Trey Lance guy. And hold on. Now we're talking about Shanahan and the Niners. I must make a Kyle Shanahan point. Can somebody explain to me how he's not a young I forgot his name, Pat Shurmur. How he's not a young Pat Shurmur, right? What has he done as a head coach outside of that 1 year where he had an amazing defense? It wasn't even the offense that carried the team. It was the defense. But everyone's like, oh, he's the great, he's the next coming. And he gets hit these contract extensions. I don't understand. Sean McVay is in the same division, and he's winning he's going to the Super Bowl and going to the conference title games and making trades and getting elite players. And Kyle Shanahan's, he went 6-10 with, someone with one leg throwing to a receiver with one finger. It's like, what? I'm like, dude, yeah.
But doesn't Shanahan own McVay head to head?
So what? What did you say earlier?
No, you're talking about how good McVay is, and Shanahan owns him.
What did you say earlier? What do you play to do? You play to win championships. Who's gotten closer to? Yeah, who's gotten closer to more championships? Not winning a championship because they both lost in Super Bowls, but who's gotten closer to more championships? McVay, because he makes the playoffs every year. What does Shanahan do? He goes 6-10. 1 year he's 13-3 because he has an elite defense, and then he goes back down to 6-10. They both lost
Super Bowls with subpar quarterbacks.
Exactly. So and I'm not saying he's not capable of being a great head coach, but show me something. For the love of God, show me something.
I think you just hate him. I
don't hate him. I don't understand.
I think he did a great job last year with a mash unit of a team.
He was sub 500 again for the fourth time. Sorry, he has a terrible record. Ben McAdoo had a better first year. Ben McAdoo he has a better winning percentage. I'm not saying he's better. I'm not crazy, but I'm just saying.
Is there ever a guy more that you just look at him and like, okay, he shouldn't be a head coach? You just look at McAdoo and you can't take him seriously.
Ben McAdoo beat his fist on the table for Patrick Mahomes. His fist on the table and got laughed out of the room. Physically laughed out of the room. So whatever, man. All I know is, let's stop with the Kyle Shanahan love. It's driving me crazy. It's like you're not even the best. You're not even the best young coach in your division. Settle down. God, you're welcome. You're so lucky to have.
I love how much you hate him.
I don't hate him.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. I don't. It drives me nuts.
Yes, you do. We'll be talking on the phone and you'll just bring up Shanahan for no reason. How much you despise it.
Yeah. We'll be talking about, you're like, so I saw on Instagram your daughter.
Hey, man, how's the weather in Syracuse? I hate Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Cool. That's how I do around the house, too. I was like, hey, you want me to make 1 egg or 2 for I'm talking to my daughter. I was like, Avery, here's the thing with Kyle Shanahan. He's 4-12 and 6-10. He's not elite. No, but
hey, before I make you this omelet, let me tell you how much Kyle Shanahan sucks.
I'll tell you how much this omelet. You want me to make this like Kyle Shanahan, or do you want me to make it like Sean McVay? Because if you want me to make it Kyle Shanahan, I'll throw it in the garbage. And if you want it like Sean McVay, then it'll look like Bobby Flay made it for you. So,
do you want 4 eggs in your omelet, like Shanahan went 4-12, or do you want 5?
Yes. How many eggs do you want? You want 1 for every playoff appearance Kyle Shanahan had, or do you want 4 for every playoff appearance McVay's had? Anyway, we're done. We're done with that. It just drives me freaking berserk. So there's also a rumor that Kirk Cousins could be on the move, which I don't see considering his salary. But for S and G's, we'll say Kirk Cousins. Do you think he's going anywhere?
I mean, what does Minnesota do if he goes somewhere?
They draft a quarterback. Apparently, everybody's drafting a quarterback this year. So I don't know.
Yeah, where are they in the draft though? I don't think they're. Yeah, I don't think they're.
They're right smack dab in the middle. So
yeah.
I mean, they're not going to go anywhere with Kirk Cousins. I do like the fact that they signed Kirk Cousins because we were this close with Case Keenum. Kirk Cousins is better, so we're conventional wisdom would say we're going to go even further with a better quarterback, and it just didn't turn out as well.
Yeah, I think that's more on Zimmer for just building an awesome roster, and it's just. Cousins can't get him over the hump.
Yeah, Rick Spielman, their GM, is definitely the issue. Well, he's a good GM, but it's like they're one of those teams too. It's like they ever had a really great quarterback in their prime. They had the 1 year with Favre. They had like 2 good Culpepper years and 1 Case Keenum year. Unless I'm missing something, they had a good Randall Cunningham year too. But
isn't it amazing like the difference we have when we talk about like the NFC versus the AFC and quarterbacks? The AFC is like so young and like. Exciting, and the NFC you're just kind of like, oh boy, like
Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson again, huh? Neat. Yeah. It's like, and then who goes to the NFC and just dominates it because there's no other good quarterbacks? This is a freaking somebody that's like graduated high school in the mid '90s. Like it's absurd. It's absurd. The NFC is actually kind of bad, and even Carson Wentz now is in the AFC, which is funny because it's like he could also be a potentially good young quarterback.
Yeah, I just hate anyone who's vegan, so I just hope for nothing but bad things for him.
Well, he would beat you up, but he would fall apart if he tried, so he can't.
He couldn't beat me up. He'd break his arm trying.
Speaking of getting beat up.
No iron in his diet.
Mari, is there any other quarterbacks you want to discuss before we move on to getting beat up?
David Carr, you think he stays in Vegas, or they try to do something crazy?
I think Mariota is more likely to move, but honestly, I don't know. I think
did I say David Carr? I meant Derek Carr.
Yeah, everybody knew who you meant. Everyone makes this mistake. So I would say he stays there. But I mean, there's another team that was like, oh, they're going to draft a quarterback. And I was like, I don't know how many quarterbacks are coming out this year. Apparently 32 quarterbacks are coming out, but like, I don't know. Watson that was one of the teams rumored to get Watson early on was the Raiders. I almost said Oakland.
Oh, so God, that would have been awesome.
Actually, kind of would have been cool. The Patriots. Where does Cam Newton go next year?
Is Cam broken? I mean, he didn't look great ever since.
Their playmakers are so bad, though. Their playmakers are so bad. But he
don't throw the ball. It seems like his shoulder's shot.
I don't know why in my head I thought the Patriots did way worse than this. They were 7-9 last year. That's actually really good considering how untalented they are.
They gave DC a run for their money. They just couldn't score.
Yeah, they really did. I actually think they had Cam in that game because I think that was the game they trotted out one of their like two backups or whatever, and they were both terrible.
I want to know too, what happened to Jason Stidham? Like they were talking about him
Well,
being
that
a
was him.
starter
Yeah,
up until they signed Cam, and then Cam is terrible, and we never saw Stidham.
Stidham must be that bad. Honestly, he just must be that bad.
But
I think Belichick just wants Jimmy G back.
They were talking about coming out of training camp. He was going to be their starter, and they were excited and happy for him. And then Cam comes in, plays like absolute garbage, and you still never bench Cam just to see what Stidham has.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
So I'm looking. I want to make sure. So we did sort of touch on Carson Wentz, but Carson Wentz going back to Frank Wright, it just makes the most sense. I mean, that was the most logical one. I don't know. If Wentz had a hard time in Philly, I don't really see him having a better time in Chicago. I think the Colts, with their media presence, they have a small but kind of sassy media there. But I don't know. The Colts is the best case scenario for him, so we'll see where he goes there.
But he's got a much better roster now too with Indy.
Yeah, exactly. And then Jacksonville, I think they're kind of interesting just because they're going to get Trevor Lawrence and they get a ton of cap space. So to be curious to see what they do. And Urban Meyer, who I'm not. You think I hate Cal Shanahan? Jesus. I will dedicate a whole show to how much I hate
Urban Meyer with a passion.
Such a scumbag. Like, he
really is. And he's going to have health issues and leave. And I'm sorry, like, what are these health issues that keep coming up and you have to leave a team after a few years and then mysteriously they just get better? And then, I don't know.
I don't know what he has. I don't know. Let's see here. Going through all the teams here. Yeah, we talked about Denver a little bit. We talked about Washington, the Giants, Dallas, Philly. The
Washington
Lions
re-signed that kid from the XFL.
Heineke.
Yeah.
Dude. I do wonder if he plays well. If the Trump tweets that he had they attempt to try to resurface them again if he starts for them.
Oh God.
But my thing is, like, it's okay. I disagree with his political opinion, but it's okay for him to have a political opinion. None of it, I don't think, was inappropriate.
I think he don't want to know his political opinion. I just want to watch.
That's the other thing. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about anybody's political opinion. Honestly, I don't even care about my own. Sometimes I get bored with myself when I think about it. So, do you think Detroit is better or worse now with Jared Goff?
I think they're better getting those draft picks. They needed to blow it up. Like, it's just
they do. I think
for Detroit. If you're a Lions fan, man, I feel for you. It's just Stafford was the best quarterback you've had, and you just couldn't do anything with him.
I know.
I mean, you ran Barry Sanders out of town. You ran Calvin Johnson out of town, both in their primes. Like, my God.
What about the Atlanta Falcons? I think that's a Justin Herbert destination. I think they pick fourth. I think they're gonna get Justin Herbert. Or not Justin Herbert. Jesus Christ. Justin Fields.
I can see that. Yeah.
I think
Ryan has such a big contract. I just don't know what you do with it.
Yeah, he's really expensive. I think you can cut him after next year, and I don't think it's as bad. But Justin Fields needs a little fine tuning anyway, and I think playing in a dome is going to be good for him. Not that he can't throw through bad weather. I just think like a lot of guys like that are like him that are run around guys that can kind of sling it a little bit. I think they're a little bit better off in domes. Not a Chicago quarterback.
Are they fourth?
Yeah, they pick fourth.
Okay.
I think Zach Wilson goes before him, and I think Jamar Chase goes in the top 3 also. I think he's like if the Jets get their guy, I could see if the Jets. I would say it depends. I guess it just depends on where they pick, but I could see Jamar Chase going in the top 4.
I'm excited too for Zach Wilson. I watched a couple BYU games, and that kid is electric.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see where he goes.
It'd be interesting to translate to the NFL. He's really skinny, but I don't know if that's really going to make a difference. I mean, that's the same with like Devontae Smith a little bit too, because Devontae Smith as a receiver is like very Marvin Harrison-y, and I think he could be really good in the NFL. I think he could be really productive, but I think like somebody like Jamar Chase is just going to absolutely. He's just. I think a lot of people see Justin Jefferson with him too, but a thicker guy, and you know. I don't know. I think the draft's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll cover it more in depth. But I can see Zach Wilson. I can see between so my best guess for the top 5 is going to be in no particular order other than Trevor Lawrence to be Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Chase, and Sewell. I think in some order. I think Penei Sewell is going to go to the Bengals at 5. And then those middle 3 ones, though, I can see a lot of moving and shaking going on in those 2, 3, and 4 spots. But
Oh, it's
But
late this year. April 29th. Thursday, Saturday.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Where is it this year? Are they actually doing it at a location? It was scheduled to be in Cleveland this year, but
Cleveland.
I wonder if they do it. I honestly wonder if they do it. But anyway, so we mentioned we teased a little somebody getting beat up. Go on and tell everybody about your about the kid from Oklahoma getting beat up, just getting murked.
Yeah, I can't remember the kid's name, but I've seen the video like a dozen times, and dude, it's so different now. Like picking a fight out at a bar, like he made the biggest mistake of all. Like just read the room. Like, okay, yeah, you're a D1 athlete. You think you're tough. You think you're hot shit. You're all that. Like maybe notice that the dude has cauliflower ear. And if you don't know
that's one of my standing rules.
It should be everybody's rule. Like, if you're not familiar what that means by cauliflower ear, that means the dude either trains MMA or he has been a wrestler for many years. And
Google Brendan Schaub ear, and then you'll see cauliflower ear. His ears look like Shrek's ears.
So my best man at my wedding, Tommy, great dude, one of my friends since high school, he wrestled in high school. And I learned from a very young age that you do not screw with a wrestler because he will take you to the ground immediately and bend you up like a pretzel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys haven't seen this video, please go watch it on YouTube. So that OU wide receiver just, basically towers over him. But this dude lights him up, like peppers him with punches, throws him in a rear naked choke, gets him down the ground, grapevines his legs around his torso and on that, piss covered floor, which, damn, like that can't be enjoyable. Like, just jacked him up. And, we only saw the point where they're recording. If you look back and watch it, the little guy already had a bloody nose. So I'm guessing he got cold cocked or something. And that OU receiver shoves him and the MMA dude just goes to town on him. Like, just be mindful of who you're going at it with. And I learned it personally. I've been coming up on 13 years of sobriety now from booze. And I picked a fight with a douchebag from Lafayette and I got my head split open on the sidewalk. Like, just learn from that stuff, man. Like, when you have so much to lose like that, playing D1 football, like you just can't be going out and getting into bar fights like that, acting like a cocky douche. And, the dude, I can't feel sorry for the dude, hearing about how he might lose his eye, probably like broke his orbital bone because, hey, man, you were a douche and you started it. Like, sorry, tough break.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's one of my standing rules is don't mess with anybody with cauliflower ear. I don't care if they're 100 pounds or 300 pounds. Just don't. It never works out.
The little guy. The little guy has way more fight in him too.
Definitely a lot more energy for sure. I was joking today because there's that story about the transgender woman that is 6'8", 220 pounds, and she's playing in a and that sort of got into a thing where it's like. I was questioning my own masculinity by basically saying that Ronda Rousey could lock me in a room and hand kill me, and there's nothing I could do about it. That goes to that training, fighting thing. Like if somebody's trained at fighting, don't mess with them. And a clear dead giveaway is cauliflower ear or some kind of rough skin around their eyes. Like just watch out for those people, man, because they will light you up. So. And just don't get in a fight. It's like road rage.
Yeah.
I don't understand people who get road rage, right? And maybe you're one of these guys, Tony. I don't know. I think you just get human rage. See, I'm not a road rage guy because honestly, 99 out of 100 people will yell in their car and they feel safe or whatever. It's that one lunatic who is like, oh, you want to yell at me in your car? And they get out of the car and they start smashing your window with their fist, and then they pull you out, and then they just beat the hell out of you on the side of the road. And you don't know what people are capable of. Also, I'm actually more annoyed by other things than I am getting cut off on the road because I'm the best driver in America. So I'm not necessarily that concerned about getting in an accident because I've never been in one. Even though if you talk to anybody, they'll say I'm the worst driver. They're all people that have been in accidents. So you do the math. So I'm the Kyle Shanahan of drivers.
Yeah, I did have a kind of bad road rage incident once this past summer, and I think I was kind of in the right on this one. So it's summertime, I got the Wrangler, I got the doors off, got the top off, cruising, heading toward the gym. Pre-workout's already pumping through my veins. I'm already ready to go. Genesee Street going down through Camillus toward my gym is, 2 lanes on each side of the road. So I'm in the right lane, Carr in the left lane. I got my foot just chilling out this, because there's no door. Just got my foot hanging out in the breeze on the little side. What do you call it?
Little running board.
The rail. The board. And I'm just kicking my leg out, and this douche tool on a motorcycle just comes up between the two cars, and I damn near kick him off the bike. Like, he damn near took on my ankle, and we're at a red light, and I just put the thing in park, and I just get out, and I start screaming at this guy. I think I basically said, I will take that helmet and shove it so far up your ass, you will taste the visor. So,
dumb.
In that case, though, I think I was pretty justified. Because imagine, like, if I ended up kicking him, and he's wedged between two cars, and it could have gone very badly.
Yeah, that's a bad day, dude. I hate when motorcycles do that because, like, that's not. And they're always the first person to quote like the law. It's like bicyclers. Like they're always the first person to bitch about traffic, but at the same time, they're cutting traffic. I see bicyclers run stop sign and run red lights all the time. It's like, aren't you supposed to stop at those? But yeah, heaven forbid, if a car gets near you got to call freaking. You want to call in freaking Colin Farrell and the whole SWAT team to come and fight people. Like, I don't understand. Like, I gotta hate everybody. Honestly, see, and that's what gets me angry is I sit here and I talk to you and I get upset thinking about traffic, but I'm in traffic, I'm fine.
Dude, if vehicular manslaughter was legal for like just a day, like the purge,
like if they have a purge, but in your car.
Yeah, I would go after every dude just dressed up in the full Tour de France outfit. I would just
they're dressed with the post office.
Dude, I would drive up on the sidewalk. I would chase you through public parks in my car. Like, I would just take you out. I can't stand those guys.
No, I can't either. But they're wearing the whole thing. I don't understand why you just can't wear like I don't know. Why do you got to dress like Lance Armstrong in 2004? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But
because they're the male Karens. They're absolute douches.
They're male Karens. It's true. My favorite thing is the little thing on their that hangs off their helmet that looks like one of those dentist tools. There's their like rear view. That's hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I haven't rode a bike in so long. I actually thought about doing it, but then I thought about this type of conversation. I'm like, I don't want to be a bicyclist.
It's okay to ride a bike, get your exercise in, get your cardio in. That's great. But if I ever dress like that, I need you to kill me.
Oh, I won't dress like that. I'm not a.
If I dress like that, I need you to kill me. I want you to just.
Okay, that's
promise
fine.
Me.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that. So just wrapping up this episode real quick. I just wanted to also point out that we got a new logo. I'm very excited about. You can sort of see it over Tony's. I mean, if you're looking at him, I think that would be his left shoulder, but I can't really tell because it's inverted. So I'm confused. But anyway, it's over Tony's shoulder there. But is that your right shoulder?
Left.
Okay, yeah, so I was right, left shoulder. So because it's like mirrored.
It's
like
so hard to move.
This is not, because this is opposite. Because like I'm holding up my right hand, but it's left.
You turn the opposite way.
Okay, I don't know why the audio on this is. People are gonna be, what the hell are they talking about? But anyway, we got a pretty spiffy new logo. I picked the colors, which I was, the most happy about I've ever been, which was described as iMessage blue, which I am a fan of. So I've been more active on Twitter, and we're just looking to grow this puppy. So tell your friends and go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Under The Hoodies, at Cuse Waterboy, and also following Tony, not just for sports stuff, but he, again, is going to be the patron saint of vaccinations over here. Moderna needs to cut you in, or Pfizer or somebody needs to cut you in, or the government, somebody. You know what? We should tweet Cuomo. He's probably busy.
I tweet at him all the time. I challenge him to a fight. I want him in a steel cage.
Yeah. Would you fight Chris Cuomo instead?
I'll fight either one. I'll take him on in a handicap match. Let's go.
Well, it makes sense. Okay, so
I'm not scared of either of those.
2 versus 1, yeah. In hindsight, that's probably an appropriate term to call that match, but I know what you meant. I guess you are at a handicap, right? Because it's 2 versus 1. So I guess it makes sense. I definitely put my money on you
with that. You're not changing the name.
No, I would say you're probably a minus 105 favorite for that one. So that's I could see you winning that. All right, so again, Cuse Waterboy at Cuse Waterboy on Twitter, at Under The Hoodies also on Twitter. We are presented to you by Back Sports Page. We actually have a sponsor, which you'll hear, I believe, at the beginning of this, so that's kind of fun. And that's all I got. Tony, if you have anything else before we go.
No, just go Orange. Get us a goddamn W on Saturday.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And real quick, we got 30 seconds or so. I've been rewatching The Wire, and it is reaffirmed that it is the greatest television show that's ever existed. I know this is a cliche thing to say, but it is the best show ever created. So do yourselves a favor if you have HBO Max, just watch The Wire. Season 2 is amazing. I thought it was the worst season, but it actually, outside of maybe, it's in the middle, but it's still better than anything you watch on TV. Okay? All right. Good talk. We'll be back next week.
See you later.
Bye. All right.